Well, the US and Iran will take part in talks this week in Vienna aimed at reviving the 2015 Iran nuclear agreement. It's the most extensive effort to shore up the agreement since President Biden took office in January. Joining me now live is Professor Joe Siracusa, political analyst at Curtin University. Professor, good morning. Nearly 3 years after Donald Trump pulled the US out of this deal, why is Joe Biden making this a priority for his administration?
Good morning, Danica. Because it's a good idea. Returning to the Iran nuclear deal provides some kind of stability in the Middle East. And look, I'm a big believer in buying time. That's what nuclear weapons agreements or nuclear agreements are about, is buying time until that day comes when nuclear weapons are obsolete and we found some other way to kill each other in an efficient manner. But I think it's an important move. It all depends, of course, now how it goes forward. I mean, the Iranians are quite clear about it. They want the Americans just to go back to the table and to resume as normal. Now, the other good thing is that it's a good example of returning to multilateralism, because the Iran nuclear deal has in it the five members of the Security Council, plus Germany, plus the European Union. So everybody's in on the act, and I think it shows a good step forward. Now, is it going to get very far? I don't know, but I think it would be an important step in the right direction, because other things are going on in Europe. We got COVID diplomacy. We got people arguing about the Q, about this kind of thing. We got the Russians are disturbing their Ukrainian neighbors in the eastern part of Ukraine as they're massing troops there. And there are all kinds of things going on in Europe. So I would like to see something positive on the scoreboard right now.
And what is the likelihood, do you think, of the US easing sanctions against Iran for its nuclear activities?
I think they're pretty good. I think they're going to have to roll the dice on this one, because I don't think Iran's going to come back to the table unless they can roll up some of these sanctions. And keep in mind that that Biden needs some kind of victory here. I mean, he's got his hands full at home. We got this George Floyd trial going on. We got an attack on Capitol Hill yesterday by a man who is a member of the Nation of Islam. We got fracturing over the infrastructure bill, which is more than just about ports and airports and roads and bridges. It's about all kinds of things. The right wing of the Republican Party doesn't want it. Republicans don't like it at all. And the left wing of the Democratic Party, I think, it's just a down payment on the future. So I think Biden's looking for an easy win here. And frankly, I think nuclear weapons, particularly North Korea, Iran, and the rest of it, probably one of the number one issues in the world today. And it's not always front and center because it doesn't bleed the way the other stories do and soaks up the news. But it's very important in terms of establishing some kind of way to go forward, because it seems to me that the nuclear arms race has to be solved, or it has to be managed until the day comes when we don't have to worry about nuclear weapons. But it requires eternal vigilance and diplomacy.
And how would Israel be feeling about these upcoming talks? What sort of a position would they be taking?
Well, if Netanyahu is defeated or he's unable to gather his forces, I think it'll go down okay with Israel. Of course, the Netanyahu doesn't like it, and the Israelis have always threatened to take Iran out. Now, keep in mind that President Trump raised an important issue. He said, look, there are the nuclear issues involved, but it's also about Iran's position in the Middle East. It's support for the Shia militias, and also its support for those people in Lebanon who have 30,000 rockets trained on Israel in case there is a conflict. I mean, Trump wanted Iran to behave itself as a way of, as a gesture to Israel to settle down. So it's a tricky kind of a game, because I think the Iranians are going to have to give up a little bit of their revolutionary zeal here, particularly in Syria, Lebanon, and other places, to settle down the Israelis. And keep in mind, the Israelis have about probably 200 of their own nuclear weapons. I mean, they know how to solve this problem tomorrow. But look, they don't want to blow up Tehran. I mean, they want to come to some kind of a deal. And peace in the Middle East has always been a very tricky business, at least in my lifetime. And there is no answer. There is just management of the situation. And I think if the Iranians can come back into view, that is, that they can join the world stage here, I think it would settle them down a little bit. And diplomacy is the only answer to violence. I mean, so we got to give it a go.